Hey everybody, I'm Patrick Murray with Patrick Murray Real Estate. Thanks for joining me today. So fraud is alive and well in Alberta. Yes, believe it or not, it's true. And whether you realize it or not, there are bad actors all around us. So today we're talking about how Canadian real estate is monitored under federal anti-money laundering laws and how FINTRAC is involved. And most importantly, the real types of fraud happening right here and now that buyers and sellers need to be aware of so that they can understand and know the signs. Because knowing this could literally save you thousands of dollars. Hey, it could simply save you from financial disaster. But before we do that, if this is your first time in this channel, then, well, number one, welcome. And number two, if you want to know everything there is about what it's like to buy and sell real estate or invest in the Calgary real estate market, or you just are interested in learning more about Calgary and the real estate market in general, then you are in the right place. Please hit that subscribe button and click that bell so you get notified every single time I release a new video. Now, I've lived in Calgary since 2001, but I've been a realtor here since 2010, and all this does mean I have some specialized knowledge about the city of Calgary and the surrounding bedroom communities. So if you are considering moving here, or you're considering selling your home, or you want to buy a revenue property, please feel free to reach out to me, send me a text, email, or a phone call, or in the description, there is a link to my calendar. I'd be happy to chat with you to help you and your family. All right, let's do this. Let's get into this topic right now, talking about fraud in real estate and how I protect you and how you can be more aware right now. In Canada, in real estate, realtors must comply with strict federal legislation designed to prevent money laundering and terrorist financing. And that's where FINTRAC, or Canada's Financial Intelligence Unit, comes in. Its job is to monitor suspicious transactions, require reporting, and make sure real estate isn't being used as a vehicle for illegal money. And that's why, as a real estate professional, I have to collect information for every party from a sale or purchase of a home. So why real estate? Well, because property is one of the easiest ways to move, hide, or legitimize large amounts of money. And criminal organizations know that. Regulators know that, and professionals in the industry are legally required to watch for it. So this isn't optional compliance, this is actual federal law. Now, many people think that fraud is something that happens somewhere else. It happens in big cities, organized crime rings or overseas buyers. Well, here's a newsflash. Guys, Calgary is big enough. We have that stuff happening right here in our backyard. And the truth is, mortgage and real estate fraud happens on an ongoing basis. In fact, there are cases that are regularly investigated by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre. So some schemes are sophisticated, others are surprisingly simple, but let's break down 5 of the most common ones for you here. So number 1 is income or employment misrepresentation. And that's where, a borrower exaggerates their income or fabricates employment or submits altered documents to qualify for a mortgage. But what they're actually doing is falsifying documentation, and that's fraud, okay? So why it matters: lenders base approvals on risk. False information distorts that risk. And if discovered later, it can lead to mortgage cancellation, foreclosure, civil liability, and criminal charges. Now, straw buyer schemes are one of the most dangerous real estate frauds out there because the person being used often thinks they're making money. In fact, the person being used may not even understand the implications of what's actually going on. They don't even know they're being used in some cases. They're told, hey, buy this property for us, and we'll pay you. We'll remove your name from the mortgage in 6 months. Okay, but here's the truth. You can't just remove somebody from a mortgage. Once it's registered through Alberta's land title system under the government of Alberta, you're legally responsible until that loan is paid off or refinanced. And refinancing only happens if the new borrower qualifies. So fraudsters often use these properties to flip them, to pull out equity, or to collect rent. You may think that they're making the payments, but they're not. And what happens when those payments stop? Well, your credit is destroyed, Your name is on the foreclosure and your signature is on all of the documents. So when this suspicious activity is flagged, agencies like FinTrack look at the person on title. And what sounds like quick money can follow you for years and seriously damage your financial future. Now, to me, what makes this particular crime more disgusting is these fraudsters will target people that are new to Canada, that maybe don't understand the laws or how things work, or people that are vulnerable. And that's wrong. It's wrong anyway, but the fraudsters know what they're doing and they know how to pick their mark. So this is something to be aware of. This is why you want your real estate professional to be paying attention. Now, property value inflation is another type of crime that happens, another type of fraud that happens in real estate. And this occurs when property values are intentionally inflated through falsified appraisals, collusion, or manipulated comparables. So why it matters? Well, artificially high values allow criminals to secure larger loans, extract equity, or flip properties for fake profits. And it distorts the market and can destabilize lending institutions. Now, undisclosed incentives are another type of fraud that happens in real estate. And again, some people involved in this may not really realize what's going on or that they're actually part of a fraud scheme. But this happens when a seller secretly offers cashback rebates or perks that aren't disclosed to the lender. So for example, if a home sells for $600,000, but the buyer receives $40,000 after closing. So why it matters? Well, the lender thinks that they're financing 80% of the value of the home, for example, but they're actually financing much more. And this is absolutely mortgage fraud. Now, the last type of fraud we're going to talk about is identity fraud. And this is one of the fastest growing real estate crimes out there right now. This is where fraudsters steal someone's identity and they use it to apply for mortgages, to sell property that they don't own, or transfer title illegally. So they can pretend to be you and take over your property and you don't even know it. And why this matters? Well, victims don't realize until it's too late, and title fraud can take months or even years to unwind. Now, not all mortgage fraud is motivated the same way. There are actually two types. There's fraud for profit, and that's where organized schemes are created, often involves multiple parties, and it's intentional deception for financial gain. And then there's fraud for housing. Now, this may seem a lesser crime, but it's still a crime just the same. It's when an individual borrower lies to qualify for a home, and it's usually done out of desperation rather than criminal intent. But again, here's the key. Both are illegal, both carry consequences, and both can result in criminal charges and likely will. Intent may differ, but the legal system treats misrepresentation the same way. So let's briefly talk about the legal consequences of mortgage fraud in Alberta. Mortgage fraud is considered a serious criminal offense in Canada and can fall under fraud provisions of federal criminal law. Penalties include heavy fines, civil lawsuits, loss of property, damage to credit, and even imprisonment, depending on the severity. And professionals involved, knowingly or unknowingly, can also face discipline, license suspension, or permanent bans from their industry. This means we all have to be cognizant and aware of what's going on. Now, you might be thinking right now, Patrick, I would never commit fraud. And let me tell you, that's a really good thing. So thank you for that. But here's the real takeaway from today. You don't have to be a fraudster to be harmed by fraud. You could be the innocent buyer, the unknowing seller, the straw buyer victim, or even the identity theft target. And that's why due diligence, verification, and professional compliance exists in the real estate industry, among other financial services throughout the country. They're not red tape. They are necessary to protect all of us from these fraudsters. So real estate is one of the largest financial decisions you'll ever make in your lifetime. And understanding fraud and understanding how it works puts you ahead of 90% of the population. As I said earlier, if you are considering moving to the city or you're considering selling your home or you want to invest in real estate, please feel free to reach out to me. Send me a text, email, or a phone call, or in the description, click the link to reach out to my calendar, book a time so that we can have a chat. I'll absolutely get back to you.